Hi, I'm Beth from Zenefits. It's great to meet you.
You as well. I'm Madison from Horizon.
It's so nice to finally put a face with a name. I feel like we've been talking on the phone for a while and had some email correspondence.
Thank you for coming in today.
So I'm actually from New York City, which isn't too far from here, about an hour. And I was reading through and saw that you go to TCNJ.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few friends who actually graduated from there and loved it.
Really? When did they graduate?
I graduated about 2 to 3 years ago, I'd say.
Okay, what was their names?
There was a Lauren Smith and...
Wait, my sister graduated with a Lauren Smith. Was she a health and ed major?
Yes, she's a gym teacher now.
Small world.
Yeah, it's such a small world. I remember when my friends were going there, they used to talk about ground for sculptures.
Oh, yeah. It's a big art gallery outside.
Yeah.
For one of my classes, we actually did a project on it, and our whole class went out to a field trip to it. It's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Check it out.
I want to go. I keep saying the next time I'm in the area, I'm going to go, but I'm always here for such a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always the city, I'm from the city. Everybody's Philadelphia, because it's right near here.
Yeah.
I'm no, New York City.
Have you seen any shows recently or anything?
I go to Broadway pretty often. I've seen Wicked and Annie.
I'm so jealous. I would love to go see
Yeah,
it.
no, I definitely recommend going. So anyways, I'd like to tell you why I'm here today.
Sure.
So I've been in contact with Horizon Services. I know we've had a few email communications. I've talked to I think Susan, who's in your accountant. She was telling me about some of her issues. So I just like to gather some more information and maybe help you, tell you what we can do as a company, as Zenefits can do as a company to help assist you in your needs.
Okay.
So would that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start by asking some questions, and then we'll see where that goes, and then we'll figure out what exactly you guys need to help you better your company.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna start with what are some of the main issues or complaints that employees or clients have about your company.
So as you mentioned, we have a payroll coordinator. Her name is Susan, and Susan has a variety of different tasks she has to do in the office, but one of her secondary tasks is payroll. But with that being said, she still has over 20 hours a month that she dedicates towards payroll, which is a lot of time to be calculating payroll, and we have over 650 employees. So to manage all those employees manually takes her a lot of time.
Okay, so you'd say your direct complications or issues with your company are your payroll issues.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so that's good to know that we're going to focus on payroll. So how often, going off of this, how often do you pay your employees? How often are you late with payments when it comes just the average? I know most companies do bi-weekly, so
Yes.
what is yours?
So we say we're supposed to be doing bi-weekly payments, but however, because Susan is so backed up with manually doing the payroll and the 650 employees, sometimes our employees go around 4 weeks without their paycheck, which is really not a great
Yeah, that's a very substantial amount of time. That's almost double what they should be going by. So going off of this, I know you've also talked about issues with field technicians. So what are some common issues your employees are facing with those field technicians?
So one of the main reasons why we are so backed up with payroll and Susan spends so much time on it is because around 200 of our employees don't actually come into the office. So it's very hard to calculate when their hours actually are. So with that being said, accuracy is really hard for us, and we're always constantly going back and trying to calculate when their hours are.
So they go straight from their homes into the site, and then they don't want to come into the office because of,
Right.
That makes sense. I'm sure a lot of them live far away, so it might be an extra added expense for them. So I would say just how often does this actually happen? How often do you have these issues with field technicians not reporting their start or end time?
So it is very surprisingly a very common issue.
Okay.
Around 3/4 of our employees in total don't report accurate hours, and that could be on their own well-being or just because they don't have easy means to document their hours. So a lot of times we're scurrying around trying to get it all together.
So yeah, 3/4 is a lot of your field technicians there. Okay. How has spending too much time and too many hours on payroll affected the overall work quality? I guess this could be directly affecting maybe Susan's work quality because she seems the one who's taking the brunt of all of these extra hours doing payroll.
In regards to Susan, because payroll is supposed to be a secondary part of Susan's job. She often makes some mistakes, and that's not her fault. It's just because there's not enough hours in the day for her to dedicate towards it. So we notice a lot of mistakes in the payroll system, and then also employees getting upset with that.
So I know that, Susan's been late on some of the payments. This has been happening for a few months, but like looking like into the future and long term, what would happen if if Susan continues to spend these countless hours on payroll?
I think if we don't come to an easier means of payroll, Susan's going to get very overwhelmed and have too much pressure and ultimately quit, which we don't want because she's such a great asset to our company. Or we might even have to add a secondary person, which would be very costly to us.
Okay. So hypothetically speaking, let's just say that Susan didn't have to spend these 20 hours a week processing, or a month, I guess it's a month, processing payroll. How would this benefit your company?
I think it would definitely benefit overall Susan because her work-life balance would be better, but also all of our employees because they'll feel like we care more about them. If they're getting their paychecks on time, they're not going to feel like they're just getting brushed under the rug and neglected. So I think it would be a great addition to what we currently have.
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure all your employees feel that they're like useful and needed, and that we appreciate what they're doing, because that's a very hard thing, trying to keep the morale in the company.
Right.
So my last question for you is just, would you or even your employees be able to do their jobs better if everybody could spend less time focusing on payroll concerns and actually focusing on the issues that they have, their actual common job role descriptions?
I think that people would definitely benefit from something that's easy and user-friendly, and that they can log their hours easily, on a phone per se or something. But also because a lot of times issues we've been having with our employees now is because we are so backed up. People are not willing to put in the extra effort because they feel like they're not going to get compensated or they're not going to get acknowledged. So I think if we had a system that was up to date always, these people would be willing to go the extra mile with some of their daily workforce.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely that making sure everybody has a clear job description, not doing extra work, would be very helpful.
Exactly.
So I took some notes just so when I go back to my office later, I could work up a full actual plan of what we would do for the company. But for now, I would just like to thank you for sharing that information. And I think that we can really help you with your needs based on payroll and helping with the technicians not logging their hours. I think that's something definitely that Zenefits platform would help you with. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to maybe share with you how some of these needs that we can customize these needs to help you.
Yes, I would definitely like to learn some more.
So first, I'm just going to start off with some basic facts about Zenefits because I think it's important for you to know what we do.
Okay.
So we're a private company, and we organize vital areas of business. So we help provide human resource help online. We do payroll help, time management, clocking in and out, even looking at taxes and deductions and taking all that out of checks and all that stuff is things that we can help you with. We're based out of San Francisco, California, and we started around 2010, so it's almost been a decade where we've been in business helping clients. We have approximately 500 employees worldwide. We are based out of the United States, India, and Canada. So we've really expanded across the world in the short years that we've been in business. And our main objective is to offer assistive tools that I was talking about. So those human resource tools, those payroll tools, benefit analysis tools, and compliance tools. Those are our main goals and what we want to offer our clients to help them. And this is all set in one platform. So it's very easy if you say, I need to do payroll, but I need to do human resources. It's all in the same platform where you just have to learn how to navigate the system, and it's very easy to use. Our goal of providing these tools with you guys is so employees can really focus on their specializations and their jobs and not have to worry about other things. So Susan can focus on her accounting, things that she has to do, and not have to worry about all this payroll because her job has become more payroll focused than accounting focused in the past few months. And we specialize in helping small to medium sized businesses. So being that you guys are about 650 employees, I think you fall perfectly into that category. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to show you this printout I have of the features and then the benefits that we have to offer that Zenefits can offer you. So first, I'd like to say that Zenefits provides a very easy and affordable platform, and we're cheaper than most of our competitors. The software keeps track of payroll hours, where you can see here And it also keeps track of employee benefits, which is listed over here, vacation time, and tax filings, which is right over here.
Okay.
We have automatic upkeep of information. So this just means that if like a change is made with like a person's address, so let's say they get married and they change their name, all of this will be kept in the system. So when somebody goes in, they don't have to keep updating this. This will be updated once, then it will be updated there forever. This shows up directly even in the payroll. So if something's like address changed, updated, this will be directly seen in payroll too. So this alleviates the idea of transfer time and having somebody have to go in there manually and retype everything, which saves a lot of time. The software even has a mobile app, which I was like talking about briefly, but this mobile app helps employees monitor, like they can monitor their hours and like they clock in, clock out. Like in the field, like the technicians can do it on the go because this is now a mobile application. So this is going to benefit your company greatly because now, as I said, your field employees can log their hours as soon as they go on site. So if you see over here where we talk about logging hours, it's very simple. They just have to put in their username, their password, and their like company ID number, and they'll log in that they got to their location, and then they will log out. And the cool thing is there's GPS tracking, so you can see exactly where your employees are at all times.
Okay.
And we'll no longer have to guess. You know, you won't have to call up Bob and say, hey, Bob, what time did you go to work today? And he'll say, I think 8 o'clock. You'll be able to see it because he'll be logging at it as soon as he gets there. And with the GPS tracking, you can like see it. Like you'll make sure it lines up. And then basically Susan will just be saving hours of work because all of this will be doing what she's doing now. And it will be storing the information rather than having Susan have to keep re-putting it in. So overall, this just simplifies the solution so Susan can do this in just a few minutes. And the field employees no longer have to worry about not logging their hours and not getting paid for the amount of work they did. Can you see how this would be like helpful and benefit your company?
I think this would be a great benefit for Susan and make her day-to-day work-life balance a lot better if she could minimize her time towards payroll.
Even if you look over here, I just wanted to point out that we have here's like a graph and like there's some feedback, and Seth Brown, who is a consultant at a physical therapy company who we help do their payroll because they have a lot of like physical therapists that come in and out. He says Zenefits payroll, I'm saving probably about 4 or 5 hours every pay run.
Wow.
So I think that's important to like show Susan because I know she might say, oh, this is good in theory, but like I want to show her that this actually does work. There's people that have gone on record to say that this has been very helpful. So after hearing all this information, how are you feeling? Do you have any more questions for me? I know it's a lot, so.
Yeah, no, you did a great job of explaining. I was wondering, would you be able to dive a little deeper, though, in explaining to me how the Zenefits day-to-day payroll process
Yes,
works?
okay. So that is actually right over here. It's called the 3-click pay run.
Okay.
So the first step is that everything is in the system. Because as I said, the system automates. So the first step is just making sure everybody's name, address, social security number, all of that information is in the system is accurate.
Okay.
And once that's put in once, it should stay there for the entirety of their time at the company.
Okay.
So that would be the first step. And then the second step in this 3-click pay process is that Susan would review all the information.
Okay.
So all the information is in there, but you want one of your employees to make sure it's correct. So she would just review it and make sure it's correct. And then the last step, Susan would just have to approve the payroll. She would just have to click the green button on the bottom that says approve payroll.
Okay.
And they would be approved for their next pay period. So it's actually very simple. As soon as like Susan learns the interface, it shouldn't take her very long to do. And most of the information isn't changing. So when she goes to like make sure everything is correct, it all will be the same.
Gotcha.
So unless there's like something that is brought to her attention that changed, she won't have to go through and really make sure that everything is correct. This is just a lot quicker and more efficient for Susan because she's not going to be wasting all that time going through and manually entering everything. Does this answer your question?
Yes, definitely. The 3-click pay system sounds pretty easy.
Okay, so if you would like to keep this to give to Susan, that would be great. I think that she would really benefit from seeing this.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for meeting with me. I really think that our products at Zenefits can help your company based on like your payroll and the other issues you're having with people clocking in and out. How do you feel about maybe next week on like Tuesday at 2 p.m. I come back and set up like a demonstration. Maybe you can invite Susan in so I can like show her how our platform works so she can see how easy it is. And if she has any questions for me while I'm here, she can ask them.
Yes. In a second, why don't I take you to our secretary, Jenny, and she could work up a time that works well with Susan so you could demonstrate the product to her.
Okay, thank you. That would be great.
Yeah, it was so nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too.
And I'll walk you to Jenny.
Okay, great. Thank you.